Welcome to Business by Design with Valerie Priester, a podcast for established women entrepreneurs who are ready to move with clarity, conviction, and alignment. This is the space where self-trust leads, strategy supports, and expansion feels true. And now, here's Valerie.
Welcome back, beautiful soul. Today, I want to talk about something that has been sitting deeply on my heart. It's the moment a woman stops waiting for permission and begins choosing herself. Because I believe this is where so much of our freedom begins. Not when everything is perfect, not when we finally feel fearless, not when everyone understands or approves of what we're doing, but when we begin to say quietly and honestly, I matter here too. For years, I have talked about confidence, clarity, courage, mindset, and self trust. And I still believe in all those things. They matter deeply, they really do. But lately, I have been seeing something underneath all of that, and that is worthiness. Because confidence is often not the starting point, right? It is the result of a woman returning to herself. Clarity is not always about getting more information. Sometimes clarity comes when a woman finally stops dismissing what she already knows. And then courage is not the absence of fear. Someone said that once. There was a quote from someone, and I can't remember right offhand who said it. But courage is what becomes possible when worthiness finally has somewhere to stand. That's what I believe, right? And that is the truth that I want to sit with today and that I want to share with you today. Worthiness comes first. Before the brave decision, it comes before the next level, before being visible, before your business growth, before the moment when everything starts to shift, there's worthiness. And for many women, especially many of the women that I have worked with, that is the place where the real work begins. Because many of us have spent years waiting and not always in ways that look obvious. Sometimes waiting looks like being thoughtful or responsible or being patient, right? And it could even look like making sure that everything is okay for everyone else before we commit to our own well-being and before we admit that what we know, what we want, or what we no longer want or no longer fits, right? That's where the truth really begins. And underneath all of that, there is this quieter truth, right? There is this waiting for permission. I have really gone through that so many times in my own life and with working with other women, right? We're waiting for permission to trust ourselves. We're waiting for permission to tell the truth about what we want. We're waiting for permission to stop doing it the old way to please everyone else. And we're bottom line is we're waiting for permission to choose ourselves. And I've really been reflecting on this through my own story, right? In my own life, my own experiences, and what life has really taught me. Now, there's a story in my life that came up as I was meditating on this and thinking about this, and I will not go into a whole lot of details here. But what I can say is this: years ago, I helped a woman escape a very toxic and abusive situation, and that was a moment when I witnessed a woman choose herself, even in the face of real fear. And that moment changed me, right? Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, permanently. Because when you witness a woman choose herself before she feels fully ready, before the path is easy, before everyone understands what she's doing, you're really seeing something sacred. You see the part of her that still knows, I matter. And over time, I realized that that story was not only about her, it was also showing me something about myself. Because I knew what it felt like to wait to be chosen. right? I knew what it felt like to look outside of myself for validation, to hope that someone else would confirm that I was enough, that I was ready, that I was wanted, that I was capable, or even that I was allowed. And maybe you know something about this too. Maybe your life does not look dramatic on the outside, but maybe, just maybe, you've built this amazing, beautiful, successful business. Maybe you're capable, you're wise, and you're responsible, right? Maybe you are the one person that people rely on. But still, somewhere inside, there may be a part of you waiting for someone or something outside of you to confirm what you already know within you. That is the part I want to speak to today. Because the old way that you are outgrowing may not just be about an old strategy or an old offer or an old schedule. It could be the old pattern of waiting for permission. And that pattern can be very polished, right? It can look successful, it can look generous, it can look like you're doing all the things right. But inside, it costs something when we're waiting for permission. It costs energy, honesty. It costs you your voice. It costs you your freedom. And eventually, if you're really paying attention, the discomfort becomes harder to ignore. Not because you're failing, but because the version of you who learned to survive by waiting for permission is no longer the version of you who can carry you forward. And if that is where you are, I want you to know this. You are not wrong for feeling tender or uncertain. You're not wrong if something that once made sense no longer feels like it fits anymore, because sometimes the soul knows before the strategy does. Sometimes your body feels the truth before your mind can even explain it. And sometimes your next level begins as a quiet discomfort that says, I cannot keep abandoning myself here. This is where courage begins. Not always with a huge leap, right, or a big production. Sometimes courage begins with a simple admission. This no longer works. This no longer fits. This no longer serves. I know what I want. And I have been looking for approval where I actually need to practice self trust. That kind of honesty, that's not small, that's huge. It is the beginning of your freedom. Because once you tell yourself the truth, even though you may still move slowly, you may still need support, you may still even be afraid, but something inside of you has crossed a threshold. You stop pretending you don't know. That's a big one, right? And there is where the power lies. For women in business, this matters deeply because your business is not separate from the way that you relate to yourself. The way you trust yourself shows up in your decisions. The way you honor your voice shows up in your messaging. And the way you hold your worthiness shows up in your boundaries, your offers, and the way you allow yourself to be seen. So if you are waiting to be chosen, your business can become another place where you perform for approval. But when you begin choosing yourself, your business becomes a place where your truth can have more presence. And that changes how you build. It becomes less frantic, less performative, right? Less dependent on outside validation. It becomes more about honesty and it becomes more rooted and more aligned, more free to be who you are. And I think that is what so many women are actually craving. Not just more success, not just more visibility, not more strategy, but freedom. And that freedom is the freedom to stop proving yourself, stop performing, the freedom to stop shaping yourself around what you think will finally make you acceptable. The freedom to say, this is who I am now. This is what I know now. This is what I am choosing now. And yes, choosing yourself can feel tender. It can stir up guilt. It can challenge old roles, old beliefs. It can make you wonder if you are being selfish. That's a big one, right? We feel like if we're focused on ourselves, it means that we're being selfish. So let me say this. I want to say this gently and clearly. Choosing yourself is not selfish. Choosing yourself means that you are no longer willing to disappear from your own life. It means your truth gets a seat at the table. It means your desires are allowed to matter. It means that your business does not have to be built from proving, performing, or pleasing anyone else. It means that your next level is not only about doing more, it's about becoming more honest with yourself. So maybe the question today is simple. Maybe it's, where are you still waiting for permission? Where are you waiting to be chosen? Where are you waiting for more clarity before honoring what you already know? Where are you making your truth smaller so it feels easier for other people to understand or to accept, right? And what would change if you chose yourself there? Not dramatically, not perfectly, because we all know nothing's perfect, right? And not all at once. This takes time. This is a journey, right? But with pure honesty, one clean decision at a time, one truthful conversation, one boundary that honors what you're choosing, one brave sentence, one moment of saying, I matter here too. Because the truth is, you do. And I want to let you know this. You do not need permission to matter. You do not need more proof before you honor what you know. And you do not need to be chosen by someone else before you choose yourself. In fact, I'm a firm believer that until you choose yourself, no one else can honestly choose you. You are already worthy. Please know that. And you are allowed to begin right now choosing you. Begin with the truth that you are already worthy. Remember, designing your victory is a choice. Start today by honoring the truth you have been waiting for someone else to validate. See you next time.
You've been listening to Business by Design with Valerie Priester. If this episode resonated, subscribe, share it with another woman entrepreneur, and stay connected for more conversations on self-trust, strategy, and aligned expansion.